Preparing for retirement is a major life transition. And tackling the emotional side of this can trigger a wide range of feelings, from excitement and anticipation to anxiety and uncertainty.
And these wide ranges of emotions are impacted by how retirement lands with you. For example, was it your idea to retire, or were you forced out? Are you retiring early or later in life? Is your spouse or partner retired already or still at home and you're entering their domain? All of these issues really impact how you show up in retirement.
But really, regardless of how you got here, you're here. And the question is, are you emotionally prepared for this transition?
So as Jody said, it's a major life transition, this whole idea of retirement. And it alters your sense of self, it alters your purpose, and it really changes your daily activities. You were used to going to work every day, and now things are different.
So why are so many people entering this phase of life emotionally unprepared?
Because, well, we're going to show you what you need to do to get prepared. But we have a client, let's call him Billy. Billy's a good name, right?
Sure.
A good alias. He was an entrepreneur for 25 years. During high school, he went to work for a restaurant. And after about 5 or 7 years, he bought it from the owner. And he ran that thing for a very long time. And he had a great identity and a great business. But about 20 years ago, he sold it, right? And then
And what was
switched
interesting
jobs.
is he sold it about 20 years ago. So maybe sold it at around 50.
Yeah.
And entered politics and worked in the state legislature, created a whole new identity for himself, a whole new community, a whole new set of knowledge and skills that really propelled him for another 20 years.
Yeah, it was great. But then he retired 3 years ago. He has his full pension. He's financially secure. But he started to get in a little bit of trouble. First of all, his only hobby was golf.
And he lives in the Northeast, where golf is not
8
12
months a year, maybe. But then he lost his wife, which was really sad. And all of a sudden now, all of his dreams of retirement have changed. So he's a solo retiree. And he's not really taking the best care of himself physically. And he's really having a tough time building new community outside of his golf.
Right. And that's when he came to us. And we found a real pivotal turning point for him, where he could go through some great self-discovery and transition yet again in his life. And he went through our 7-day challenge. I think we'll put the link below just so that you can have that.
And if you haven't taken the 7-day retirement challenge, even if you're 30 years old, you should take it, because there's really good stuff in there. It's easy and it's free.
So we got him to go through the 7-day challenge and start talking to us about it. Then he took our full Your Retirement Game Plan course, and he started getting his life back on track, which was really encouraging to see.
And there was some work on his part to do it, but now he has a whole new outlook on his health, both his physical and mental. He's building tremendous, great new quality communities of people, and he's actually volunteering for several organizations that gives him a lot of fulfillment, community, and more. But he was totally unprepared for this change, and maybe you are too.
So let's get into how to better prepare mentally for retirement. And before we do anything, let's just address money, because it's always the first thing on everyone's mind. We don't do anything with money, but I know it can create...
Well, we spend it. You spend it.
I beg
Too
to
much
differ.
sometimes.
I know it can create unwanted stress and anxiety. And, the fact is that many people underestimate their expenses and the stress that money has on their emotions as they're entering retirement.
Yeah, and the other thing that people might do, and you really can't tell because the stock market is just crazy, but some people, or many people, overestimate their investment income returns. So that can put you in some emotional state too.
So really, being better prepared financially is critical, and that's not what we do here. But check that box, so that you can live this phase with a little less stress. Work with your accountant or your financial planner to get a budget in place.
And you want to be able to work with them so that you can make some smart financial decisions, like a good withdrawal strategy, integrating it with Social Security or 401k. Maybe downsizing is something you should consider doing. Maybe you need to do it to cut your costs a little bit. That's another whole level of stress. And we have, search our YouTube channel for Downsizing. It's actually our most popular video if you're thinking about it. But this is going to give you a clear financial picture. And this is so critical to a successful retirement. Like Jody said, to just take away a lot of the stress.
So check the box on
Right.
your financial picture and move that aside.
Right.
So let's talk about some other big impact to your emotional preparedness in retirement. The number one thing that we come up with, the number one thing that we research, the number one thing that our clients talk to us about is this idea of loss of identity. And people really struggle with this. Coupled with the loss of purpose, this is a big impact on your emotional preparedness.
Well, it is. If your identity has always been tied into your title, which a lot of people do, and their office and your expense account and your status in the community, your status in the company, if you were the CEO or if you're a doctor or a fireman or a lawyer or an accountant, that's your identity.
Right.
And when you step away from your job, that goes away.
And this happened to us, and more than likely it will happen to you too. It leads down a long journey of rediscovery in retirement. And we'll leave a link below for the video on this topic, which I think it would be really helpful.
Now, money and lost identity can have major impacts on you emotionally as you enter retirement, but you also need to think about losing your community and ending up feeling socially isolated. Social isolation leaves many people unprepared for retirement, and it's a huge health risk that, again, if you search our YouTube channel for social isolation, there's some great videos we put together on that.
When you walk away from your career, there's a good chance that many of your key relationships won't follow you. There are younger people, they're still working, they're still engaged, they still have the purpose and the identity. And they may have been situational relationships based on your employment. They were your work family, maybe not necessarily your close personal friends. However, you may bring some along with you.
You may, but this loss of community catches so many people unprepared and surprised. And you're going to need to put real effort into creating a new community. It does not happen on its own.
So let's share some tips on how to be better prepared emotionally as you transition into retirement.
Yeah, and if you're in retirement a year, 2 or 3 or 5, these things are going to work for you as well. So the first thing you want to do is visualize your retirement. And when we say that, what does it look like? What does it feel like? What is your, what else?
What is your daily routine? What habits or activities do you want to do? Do you want to put in your schedule? And, the big question is, who is in your life? And who's important and positive in your life?
How about this? Where are you going to live?
Right.
What are your dreams for what we call the 5 pillars of retirement? What are your dreams for your physical wellness, your mental wellness, your relationships, your spouse-partner relationship? Is ours good today?
So far, so good.
So good. And then wisdom sharing. The thing is, dream a little bit and have a vision for this so that you can put some activities in place to get you to that vision.
And really getting to this vision is just asking yourself those basic questions that we just went through. The next thing you'll want to do is to make a plan. Keep it simple at first. Include your financial goals and your lifestyle goals, and definitely your health and wellness goals.
Yeah, the 5 pillars, the vision, the idea is to get to the vision. You want to put a plan in place so that you get some things done. And your plan is not one and done. Think about it. Retirement can last 30 years or more. You don't spend 10 minutes putting a plan together for a 30-year time in your life. Don't skip this part, or you really could find yourself wandering a bit like a rudderless ship lost at sea. How's that?
That was very interesting
Rudderless
visual. Yeah.
Ship lost at sea.
Lost at
You
sea.
don't want to be that.
So after you visualize and make a plan, it's critically important to stay connected, right? Stay connected to your family, to your friends, and to those past work colleagues that will come with you.
We talked about the colleagues that stay behind and lose interest in your relationship. It's really behooving upon us to go back to those work friends and reconnect. And we've done that. And also, we've put effort into finding new friends and new relationships. You need to dedicate time to this.
You do, and you have to be intentional about it. I just saw a really interesting quote a couple of weeks ago in the paper by Jane Fonda about being intentional about your friendships. It was very interesting. Being emotionally prepared for retirement includes this big one as well. You have to address your fears. What fears are you having, and how are you going to tackle them one at a time head on? You might even want to talk to a therapist.
And you also need we talk about this all the time because we don't do financial planning. You need a good financial planner or wealth manager, and you want to develop clear strategies to address all of these fears. The first thing is to figure out what the fears are and then deal with them one at a time.
Right. And the final thing you can do is to practice self-care. Taking good care of your physical and emotional health, exercising regularly, eating healthy, finding stress-reducing activities to take care of you is important to be emotionally prepared.
You know, we all spend a good portion of our lives thinking about retirement. Probably from when we leave college or high school and enter our career, all we do is we save money, we yearn for the freedom, we get excited about what could be in store for us.
But many people don't prepare as much as they should for this transition to make it smooth, fun, exciting, and fulfilling. Spend the time getting yourself prepared.
Now, if you like this video, and we hope that you did, this next one, what's your identity once you retire? We're going to walk you through the 3 phases of identity when you retire. Letting go of the old identity, the neutral zone, and finally putting some effort into discovering what your new identity is going to be. And then we're going to give you 3 steps you can implement right away. So watch this next video.